Results being collated from 5 states that went to the polls in supplementary elections yesterday. That's the 23rd of March 2019. But then we're trying to sit back and look at the report of how these things went down yesterday. Collation of results as it was ongoing in Bauchi State, but there was a situation earlier in the day, that was yesterday, at Das local government area of the state, where voters chased out some hoodlums they claim being led by some politicians who allegedly wanted to disrupt the voting process in their polling unit. The voters had gathered at the polling center in Kagadama polling units when the politicians reportedly tried to disrupt the process. But this is the interesting part. Many of them, however, refused to leave the queue, while others chased out the hoodlums and alleged politicians and their backers with the support of security operatives. Let's take a look at this report.
Move out of my shirt.
There are so many things going on because the electorate here, we came out early. Unfortunately, we just saw strange people that they didn't even have the voters' cards at all. Perhaps they are not even eligible to vote here. They just came trying to cause one confusion or the other. So the electorate here and the security agencies, they couldn't allow them. They tried to manipulate and enter, but no way. And all the electorate remain on their line intact. They don't want any confusion. They say they have to cast their vote.
Well, that's it. That's the reports there. Citizen power, some people have called it. They sat down there. They insisted that no, these intruders are not going to actually come and disrupt the polls here. But what do you say about this attitude? It's a good thing if you look at it on the surface, which should be encouraged. Yeah. But then, on the other hand, what if these intruders had come with weapons and things escalated? Isn't this a push-pull situation?
It is. First of all, it's a good development. Citizens fighting back. There was another video that went viral that I saw women preventing a man in a military uniform. Yeah. Trying to.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, and this is citizen power. Citizens fighting back. You know, so it keeps happening like this, and by the next election and all that, people can now stand and not be intimidated. Even if the thugs came in with weapons and mass, as we saw in this report, and they came and the voters went after them. They'll be really disarmed, and how many people, 1 or 2, people they could kill, but they could also get hold of the intruder and deal with him seriously. So it's a good development. I see it as something that should be encouraged, something that should happen more often, and chasing those politicians away and stuff like that. I think it's really nice.
Yeah, but Mr. Awoniga, you know, a lot of people say that votes don't count anyway in Nigeria, but it's appearing that really one should really consider that votes do count in Nigeria. We saw that in Ogun State, we saw that in Oyo State, we saw that in quite a number of states in this election. We also saw how when citizens stood their ground, they got their way. And then it seems to appear that probably the people have been holding Nigeria down all this while because they probably don't seem to understand how much power they wield and how to use that power. Because in the few cases that we have seen that people stood their ground to ask, to demand what they wanted, they had always gotten their wishes granted. What do you have to say to this?
Well, I think like everything in life, we're evolving. And the people have come to realize that it's better, whatever you believe in, not that you necessarily have to die on it, but at least make sure you can be counted for what you stand for. Because, for instance, those are things you saw in Bauchi. The people came to look at it that, okay, we are the ones that are voting here. Our votes must count no matter what. So, and the people coming, they know, of course, they are trying to behave as if that they are friends, but they look at them as their enemies because they know it's either they are trying to beat them off that line through vote buying, or the other way around, just soften the ground for voter intimidation. And they stood their ground, and the early warning was there enough such that it served as a kind of a warning signal and deterrent to the other part, this thing is not going to work here. So if that kind of attitude is not limited to Bauchi alone, if we have all that, all these little things we complain about, they will be academic. People will, even the people who are involved, they will slow down a bit. That is, people are now the wiser. Because why they're able to get away with it is they believe that, oh, this is a constant. That anytime I want to do this, as long as these factors are there, we're able to do these things, you get away with it. But with what happened there, you could see that people say, oh, thank you, just they were not ready for whatever reason in the world that you are willing to propound for your actions. They were not willing at all. So at that point in time, it had gone beyond the bags of rice, 5,000 naira, or maybe even raw intimidation attack. So even if, you had asked that supposing they have been actually armed or whatever it is, you could be surprised that at that point in time, they could stand their ground and just look at it. How many people are you going to kill? Because it's something that happened in the spur of the moment. If we had been told that we'll see this kind of thing before, we wouldn't believe it. But since we are getting to this stage, this thing, and I'm happy this station has given it prominence, other places too will learn from it. They will tell them that you people, you are not as man, you behave like fools. Can you see what happened in Bauchi? It becomes a benchmark. Everybody starts referring to it and all that. And by and large, it's going to help the system. So it's very, very important that this thing has been given prominence. Because a lot of people will never have believed this before, even though that they saw it on national TV. Oh, this thing I'm saying is actually true. Okay, fine. So with that alone, people at times believe that, oh, don't worry, let's go there, let the idiots come and all that. Even the law enforcement people, maybe that one alone too, will force them to sit up that, we thought that, no, we are the ones who provided the enabling environment for them. That might even be the little motivation that will happen that, these people have more or less disgraced us. They have made us irrelevant. And even without our so-called cover, these people are doing well. That might just be the, whatever the tonic or fillip that they need that, let's get this thing on. After all, these people can get this thing done without us, then what role are we in this election? Because I'm sure that ordinarily they should be giving them maybe special allowance or something. I'm not privy to how these things are run, but common sense will dictate that for such extra duties and all that, they will have special allowances or whatever for them and their output. So with what we have seen, like I said, I'm happy this station in particular has given prominence because I can assure you, sooner than later, you will be hearing of, oh, what happened in Bauchi. Somebody is even going to give it a name. Maybe they will call it the Bauchi factor, a Bauchi man, or something along the line. We have a nomenclature to it. So I think it's healthy for our election. It's a gradual thing. For those people, they were in the spirit, and we should be thankful that at least they have become pioneers for a larger thing we are going to experience in this country, which I'm very sure.
Yeah, but there's something equally quite interesting. We saw that again, women were at the forefront of this this defense of the electoral process. What is that saying to us?
Maybe the men have failed
Because you can see the women saying, and when women stand against something.
Don't forget what happened in 1947 about market women that forced the British to, rescind some of the decisions that some of the policies and stuff like that, and which helped in the struggle for independence. Women have always come out in the time that men are weak to support and all that. And in this case now, if it were men, they might get aggressive. The trespassers might get aggressive. But seeing women, that's kind of disarm them and stuff. So, and it could be women that could lead the charge, that could bring about the change that we are looking for in all this electoral process. If this continues, it's a good omen, and something like this. Bauchi of all places, where women are not, if they're not in, in the Buddha or whatever, they are doing one thing or they're going to the farm and stuff like that. For them to take the charge, to be more interested. That's one interesting thing. Women are becoming more politically, aware and politically active. Yes, thank you for that word. So, than the men. The men are taking the back seat. The men are getting tired, but the women are the ones encouraging, being more active now, coming out to vote and stuff. It's a good development.
Sorry, another case in point again. If you remember the last time there was this mess about who ordered the National Assembly complex to be occupied and all that, you found that it was a female member of the House of Reps who stood up to that guy. Shoot me.
Yeah.
I dare you to shoot him. Yeah. And eventually what happened? The place was flung over, then you start seeing eventually it consumed the director of the DSSN.
Yeah.
Remember, these people said, oh, it wasn't me, it wasn't me, it was you, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. But at the end of the day, who stood up there? It was a woman. Because the others were trying to, I have a lot at stake, or this, and I can't afford for this.
So it's appearing to me then that it seems that we have a power pack that we have refused to use over the years.
Even in the
because in the political circle, I'll allow you, sir. In the political circle, we see that it's a struggle to have women in this position. It appears life itself is showing us something, a power that we have abandoned over the years.
Earlier in the program, earlier in the program, I mentioned it, that for instance, maybe tomorrow thereabouts, I saw in the Guardian, they're trying to promote first among the equals and listening women. And I said, why don't such women simply feel that they have a duty? I'm coming back to what I said earlier. They have a duty to give back to society what they have been able. Because a lot of them have gone through positions that ordinarily, you'll be surprised, you wouldn't have expected that a woman will rise to the zenith of that career. So having done that, it's their duty to create a kind of organization that gives women that motivation. Because God has his reason. A man cannot live alone. Likewise, a man cannot function alone. But the way society has been, until recently, women have been relegated to the background. Even the kitchen, we used to call it their office till date. You understand what I'm saying? So, but by and large, I think they are beginning to discover themselves. So I would think that it will help. Because there's a reason for it, and that's why I mentioned that, look at some of these great nations. They have a woman who have been able to dutifully give account of themselves. So it's not about women alone, but it's good that we can see that in that particular instance it was women, because, like I said, they were automatically disarmed. When you see, if it's a man thing, but at that point in time, it's like you are trying to shoot your mother, or you are trying to shoot your sister, or something like that. So naturally, caution would come in, and that's why eventually they were able to do it successfully.
And you find even in the past, even in the Bible, you find that at a point women had to rise to the occasion to save the nation. Talking about Ruth, talking about Esther, talking about Naomi and all that. At a point, they rose up to save the nation, and without those women, the nation would have been destroyed. So maybe one day, an Esther or a woman will rise up to save the nation, because It's like the men. We have failed. We have failed the nation. We have failed the people and all that. So let's just hope that if men don't reinvent themselves and take their rightful place, well, women can come around and teach them how to do it.
Yeah, because they appear to be the heroes.
It'd be nice
of the wins that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see them. In fact, when I went to cast my vote, these women were the first to come. Even when there were rallies in my state and all that, you find that these women will come, stay 2 hours, 3 hours before the event.
All right, let's do a quick recap of what happened in Plateau State. The candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Mr. Simon Lalong, has emerged the winner of the Plateau State governorship election. Mr. Lalong, who is the incumbent governor of the state, polled 595,582 votes to defeat his closest rival and candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Mr. Jeremiah Hussaini, who scored 546,813 votes. The INEC returning officer of the Plateau State governorship election, Professor Richard Kimber, made the announcement at the INEC Coalition Center in Jos, the state capital, in the early hours of today. Professor Kimber declared Mr. Lalong winner of the election, having scored the highest number of votes amongst all the contestants.
The following candidates contested for the governorship of Plateau State under their various parties, and I will call out the names and their scores. Number 1, Samuel Danuta K. Danauta K. 1,071 votes. He is of the ABP. Number 2, Dawa Yohanan D. AG, 229 votes. Musa Bitrus Joseph, AGC, 1,627 votes. Jonathan N. Temlong, ADP, 4,670. Alex Ladan, ANN, 2,273. Simon Bako Lalong, APC, 595,582 votes. Jerry Mambwe Motok, UPC, 34 votes. Isa Azuka Jega, UPP, 54 votes. From the foregoing, Barrister Simon Bako Lalong of APC, having satisfied the requirements of law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner and is in turn elected.
There you go. That was the moment when the returning officer in Jos, the Plateau State capital, announced the eventual winner of the governorship election in the supplementary election that was carried out in Plateau State. And that's how it's been. Gentlemen, your final thoughts before we round off this segment. I'll begin with you, Mr. Awuniga.
Okay, like I said, so far so good. I wouldn't say it's unfortunate.
You have a minute.
Sorry, I wouldn't say it's unfortunate that we're having this rerun, but it's better than nothing. They say half bread is better than none.
Yes.
If the election was imperfect, and we admit, or the people who are in charge admit, or admitted to imperfect elections, and they ordered for a rerun or something, I think they should be encouraged, not discouraged. But it would have been better than papering it over and pretending all was well, only in the process to have disenfranchised people or taken away the will of the people. So I think it was in order to have had the supplementary elections. No regrets, absolutely. That's the way I think it should be.
Mr. Nweze.
Well, for me, it is, we need to sit down and reflect, you know, what has just happened, the whole electoral process and all the elections that have taken place. We need to sit down and reflect and have a post-mortem and look, look forward to the changes that could be made and, make it less expensive because the resources deployed to do all these things, could be utilized to invest in a capital project that produce some common good, well, it's okay, but not what I expected, but well, life goes on. We must move on and then put this behind us and face the real thing and less politics now and provide governance to the people. That's my advice to the people. Stop playing politics. You have won it. Well, politics, as long as announcements have been made and winners have emerged, we should go ahead and provide governance and stop the politics of it.
Yeah, it's from you. It's sounding more like the Yoruba adage that says that the pig eventually will be dragged to where you're. It's just that there'll be so much noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it appears that we have just managed over the last 5 weeks to drag ourselves to the finish line. We always have a way of managing to get to the finish line, but that's how it's been. That's how the coverage has been since last night. 11 p.m. precisely, since we've been monitoring the collation and announcement of results in those 5 states that INEC has conducted supplementary elections. We're talking about Bauchi, Benue, Kano, Sokoto, and we all know right now that Plateau has finally spoken. They have chosen who their governor is going to be for another 4 years, and they've told Mr. Simon Lalong that he's good to go for another 4 years. What that becomes of them is left to be seen. Channels TV is still monitoring the results from the other 4 states. We're going to keep our tabs on it. But for now, we have to